Oh, what a night. Title Tuesday and then NXT. All the wrestlers are for everyone to see. Undertaker, what a night. That was good, that. Yes, last night, it was the Tuesday Night Wars. All over again. And a busy night was had by all parts. So we're going to go through the weeds on both of them, Jack and I. And we're going to talk about who popped up where, what happened in the aftermath, what happened before, what happened after, and all that good stuff. Let's start with NXT and its season premiere with a few notes from Nick Hausman before the thing got underway.
Yeah, he was talking about basically that there was a mission statement going into this week's NXT from Triple H and Shawn Michaels. He said, House of Wrestling spoke with a fired-up WWE source close to NXT this morning who said tonight being last night, will be a very clear example of how and why WWE is WWE and why AEW has a long way to go. They also apparently discussed how they felt AEW had been lulled into a false sense of reality, that they were somehow an industry leader by continuing to beat WWE's number three brand, Tom. Number 3 brand in viewership. Come on now, AEW.
Come on, AEW.
Don't have ambition. None of that.
How dare you? Tony had some thoughts on that. We'll get to them in a bit. Video did emerge beforehand. This was a massive night for NXT. Video did emerge beforehand of a queue that went around the block. Apparently some queued overnight to get into NXT for this one.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest turnout they've had for a long time.
Absolutely. Fightful added as well that many NXT regulars in the crowd were not able to attend due to the demand for tickets and were on standby. WWE sources said it was the most demand they'd seen for a midweek NXT show at the Performance Center, full stop. So since it's been in that building.
It was a special night where I think everybody was high on their bullshine moonshine because Becky Lynch had shared a photo on her Instagram story of Tony Khan. It was a Photoshop of Tony Khan holding her new book, which is there's a lovely bit of silliness.
It's a difficult line to tread, but Becky Lynch is one of the best at doing it, where it's a bit of a shot at the other side, but it's rooted in just banter.
It's rooted in banter.
It was quite a funny one, that one from Becky.
And what great banter from WWE to put all their wrestlers on Tuesday night. Bants, lads. So who turned up? Well, Cody Rhodes was there. He was the general manager for the night.
He was.
As he revealed.
He also made 2 big announcements. A men's breakout tournament, which will begin at the conclusion of the women's breakout tournament, which is currently ongoing. And also, which got a big reception from the crowd, the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic, which is obviously in memory of his father. So that's fantastic. He also signed off on the Bada Bing Bada Boom Battle Royal for next week to determine number 1 contenders for the tag team titles. You might be thinking, why is it called the Bada Bing Bada Boom Battle Royal? It's because the champions are Tony D and Stex.
That's why. So it's a tag battle royal. If you go, your partner's gone, and once it gets down to 2, then there's a match with the 2. It's kind of akin to how TNA back in the day would do like the Gauntlet for the Gold type thing, whereas there's a match at the end of the battle royal.
Bada Bing Bada Boom.
Bada Bing Bada Boom. John Cena appeared.
I'm walking in.
Sorry. We couldn't see John Cena walk in. He came out early in the night and he said lots of nice things about the NXT crowd. He was interrupted by Bron Breakker, and Bron was a very rambunctious young badass last night. John Cena offered Bron a handshake, and in return, Bron gave him a punch in the face.
Yeah, Cena then went for an attitude adjustment, but Bron Breakker managed to slip out of the ring instead. In the locker room, Cena then eased some of the tension between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, and even seemed to take Trick under his wing.
Really nice bit, because you had Hayes and Trick, and like they're friendly, but you can tell there's a little something there. Yeah. And Hayes left, and Trick just looked at John Cena, and Cena was like, "Hey, you okay?" And Trick was like, "How did you know when it was your time?" And Cena went, "Hey, come with me," and put his arm around him and gave him a little bit of a pep talk, we think happened there. During the commercial break as well, it was reported that John Cena hopped the guardrail at NXT and just took as many selfies as he could with the live crowd as well.
That's very good.
Which was really, really nice. Paul Heyman was on hand last night as well. He was Bron Breakker's advocate for the night. And you know what? What a great fit those two are.
It really works, doesn't it? Yeah. Not saying that Bron Breakker can't talk on the mic, because he definitely can. He's got that Steiner energy. But Paul Heyman has the ability to kind of just enhance the threat of whoever he's representing, I suppose.
He said he saw Bron Breakker as a future WrestleMania main eventer. He even gave Bron the full Paul Heyman entrance experience too. It was good to hear Paul Heyman rolling those again like he did back in the day with his other mate. Now Cena was in the corner of Carmelo Hayes for Bron Breakker's match with Carmelo Hayes and Heyman. You get that. You know what happened. Cena and Hayes were great fun, as was Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman. Great combo those were. But forgetting that for a second, Also during the night last night, we get a little clip from NXT Anonymous.
So NXT Anonymous it's the biggest mystery still going in NXT. We still don't know who
Evolution.
It's been going for so long now, especially when the whole script thing was happening. It felt like there was about three who's attacking all the women's division in the parking lot. There were three mysteries going on at the same time. Two of them have been solved. Scripts was Reggie. It was Blair Davenport attacking all the women's locker room. We still don't know who NXT Anonymous is, but NXT Anonymous caught a very interesting meeting backstage, Tom Campbell.
So Paul Heyman was chatting with Ava Raine, now known as Ava, obviously very much the daughter of The Rock.
Very much
the daughter. We couldn't hear what they were saying, but Paul Heyman was holding up his phone and pointing at his custom Bloodline phone case.
Look at my new phone case.
Look at the words Bloodline on there, Ava.
Call Robert Wright. So I think
calling Robert Rings. No.
Are we meant to
hate Siri?
Are we meant to infer from this that maybe this is just my reading of it? Maybe you're meant to think that Heyman's trying to tempt Ava Raine to join them. I thought it was like, you warn your old man to stay away from the bloodline.
Oh, well, it could be either.
Maybe.
I think when you've got the opportunity to do something like that with Ava, who has that, pun intended, bloodline, and Paul Heyman's there, of course you do a little something.
And it's the first time I think that we've actually seen it be alluded to that Ava Raine is The Rock's daughter, because they very deliberately not mentioned that throughout her whole NXT run. She's been in the schism. She's been this kind of spooky, mystical figure. But I mean, this could lead somewhere very different, or it could just be a little tease. We'll have to wait and see.
We got a little teaser. Jade Cargill last night once again as well. She turned up in a lovely white Hummer limo. Yes, it was her that did the thing in WCW that time. She was greeted by Shawn Michaels. Now she wouldn't appear in front of the crowd, but it's still furthering the mystery of to which brand she will land on when she does finally debut. It's looking like Raw, but
her gimmick at the minute is just parking the car, but she will do something. She will do something soon.
Doesn't someone park the car for her?
Okay, yeah, she's in the car.
She just
while
likes
it's
being driven
parked.
places.
Yes,
she just likes an Uber.
I believe people call that she's a is it princess passenger? She's just driven around. She does what she wants. Yeah.
Princess passenger. Tegan Knox was on last night as well. She popped up by the Performance Center. Nice little backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria, challenging Lyra to a match next week. She's got designs on getting back in the hunt for the NXT Women's title.
Yeah, although if I had to guess, I would suspect that this will be a match to get Lyra over ahead of her impending confrontation with Becky Lynch, perhaps.
Possibly. LA Knight, yeah. They announced early in the show that LA Knight was being added to this Rockstar evening as well. He was the special guest referee for the NXT title match set up earlier in the night between Ilya Dragunov and Dirty Dom. Cody Rhodes making that official. We saw the Judgment Day try and get involved, but Knight, along with Trick Williams, managed to take them down, and Dragunov got the dub.
Just a big fun, everyone getting involved match on NXT, but just with some huge names as well. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the pub rules?
You know what? I was kind of thinking, I'm not going to enjoy this. And then it was just a lot of fun. I did enjoy it in the end. Did you enjoy it?
I had a lovely time with it. I like the dartboard. I like the kegs. I like the little bar the little bar that Pete got put through. The bowling balls in there as well.
Yes, the pint glass spot. Oh, that was towards the end, though, wasn't it? But it was Gallus, the three members of Gallus, against the Brawling Brutes and their friend Tyler Bate.
At the end of the night with Coffee Coffee got glassed for the finish, and then triple powerbomb through a table.
Right.
And Tyler became an honorary Brawling Brute.
It was England versus Scotland at its finest.
That's what it looks like on a Friday in some of the border towns. Berwick's a nightmare sometimes. I like Berwick's gorgeous. Asuka was there last night as well, wasn't she?
Asuka was there. She faced Roxanne Perez in a match which I wish had a bit more time, but they really made the most of what little time they had. I think it went like maybe just over 5 minutes or so. Asuka won the match, and Shotzi appeared on commentary as well. After the match, Kiana James got in the ring, but before she could attack Roxanne Perez, Shotzi ran in to send her scurrying away. It was then revealed by Shotzi that she and Scarlett, Karrion Kross's Scarlett, will be the hosts of Halloween Havoc, which is going to to take place over 2 nights on the 24th of October and then Halloween night itself the following week.
They are perfect people to host.
Yeah,
two nights of
totally,
Halloween Havoc. So the main event of this star-studded NXT was Bron Breakker with Paul Heyman in his corner versus Carmelo Hayes with John Cena in his. The match broke down when Solo Sikoa turned up, and he and John Cena got into it, and Paul Heyman runs off with them. So all the special guests disappear just in time for Carmelo Hayes to hit nothing but net on Bron Breakker for the 3.
Yeah.
Post-match, though, Breakker, naughty boy, hits a spear and then declares himself a badass. And Bron, you've done it now. You've gone and made a big mistake.
Because what I was thinking at this moment was, well, Bron's been a really nasty boy all night. He's been horrible to everyone. He's had Heyman backing him up. Who's gonna possibly take Bron Breakker down a peg or two, Tom?
Thankfully, The Undertaker was nearby.
It was our dad, collectively.
He walked his motorcycle to the ring. For all involved.
Gonna be your judgment day.
They played the full version of Kid Rock American Badass.
Oh, in fact, yes, they did, yes.
As opposed to like the Undertaker shortened version, which kicks in with, I'm a cowboy. So I think Undertaker had to sort of wait for the right bits to kick in.
Yeah, he did. Booker T was beside himself with excitement on commentary. At one point, Undertaker's getting in the ring, and the camera just decides to do a close-up on Booker, just smiling from ear to ear.
A lovely day.
Undertaker.
Undertaker looked like a dad who was just had enough of his kids playing up. He looked like a dad that just wanted to watch the snooker in peace. He got into the ring and he said, "Hey, look, Bron, one day you are going to be a very special talent." Oh, Bron called him an old man.
Yeah, right.
Before that, so Bron was like, you doing old timer? Sounding like a sort of West Country Scott Steiner in the front. An old timer. Undertaker said, "You're going to be a very special talent, but not today." He then proceeds to wallop Bron in the face.
He distracted him with the microphone. He went, "Look at the mic. There's no WWE mic flag on it," because Undertaker's the only one who can do that. Then he dropped it. Bron sort of reflexively. No, I'm not joking. It sounds like
this is true. This is exactly what happened.
And drops the mic, and Bron goes, "What?" And then Undertaker punches him.
If you ever want to fight Bron Breakker, just flash a light just off to the side.
I think this sounds bizarre, because then Undertaker gave him a huge chokeslam and hooray, happy ending. But I do like that they did the little misdirection with the microphone, because at least it's acknowledging Undertaker shouldn't these days be able to just. He had to have a little advantage at the start, and I get why they did that.
Yeah, I know, I get it as well. It's that bit was fine. It was what it was, It was a star-studded night of NXT, but also in amongst all of that, before we are going to get into AEW. We know it's a long news video today, but there's a lot to cover. So thank you for staying with us. We're going to get into AEW Title Tuesday in just a moment. Do want to mention that we finally saw the face of Brian Pillman Jr.
We did during a vignette on last night's show. He was watching clips of Pillman, as we've seen recently. We've seen this mysterious figure doing it, but now it was confirmed to be Brian Pillman Jr. One clip even had JR's voice on it.
Yeah.
Brian said that everybody has fond memories of his dad except for him, because his dad died when he was 4. He said, "I'm nobody's junior, and from this day forward, I'll take on the surname of the real man who raised me. His name is King, and now so is mine."
I really like this.
He's going to be Brian King.
No, he's going to be Lexis King, by the way.
Oh, right, okay.
So this is a name that they copyrighted, they trademarked recently. Lexis being a play on Alexis, his sister, who passed away.
Right, okay.
So that's looking like the name that we're going to go with. I really like the explanation for this. I know everyone's a bit like, just call him Brian Pillman Jr. What's the problem? I like this because it's a real. There was a real Brian, and I know this isn't the point of the promo because he wants to distance himself. There was a Pillman Jr. energy from it.
Yeah,
like a loose cannon style energy, but he's doing it in his own way.
And they can always, because this is obviously to set him up to be a heel, surely people are going to be like, why are you not embracing the legacy of your legendary dad and everything? And I think it's going to set him up as a pretty effective bad guy. But there's always the option, if they want, down the line, maybe if it runs out of a bit of steam or whatever, he can always kind of slip into the sort of the loose cannon ways and try and fight against it. There's a lot of different storyline options they can go here. So yeah, I agree. I think it's setting up quite well.
There's some good stuff in there. Meanwhile, same time, we had AEW presenting Title Tuesday, a Tuesday night edition of Dynamite, moved as a result of sporting commitments. But Tony Khan did everything he could to make sure that people were staying with the show. A 30-minute, like NXT, a 30-minute commercial-free opening. Also, a buy-in before the night, which featured Eddie Kingston defending his New Japan Strong and ROH titles against Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, just a casual Kingston Suzuki match just on the pre-show.
Hoyd in there, and a 10-minute overrun as well for good measure. Now, it was Khan's birthday yesterday, and I think he had some lovely birthday cake and got quite spicy on Twitter.
He was having a great time.
He was having a great time.
He was having a great time, Tom. He got into a Twitter spat with another user who called him out, saying if Vince did similar to this, there would be AEW fans complaining. Tony responded saying, if Sir Vince McMahon said this, it would be the least of his alleged misdeeds. He still got the word alleged in there though, just to protect himself.
So that was beforehand, and then just a few hours beforehand, House of Wrestling published that article, which we referenced here. Now the
right
article,
at the start of the video, yeah.
Yeah, so the article was titled "Triple H and Shawn Michaels look to send Tony Khan a message." That was the article title shared on Twitter. Khan rebutted with a quote retweet saying, "I have a message for them," and then it included a picture of a door. It's from a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. On the door is painted the word "bold a-hole."
Yeah. He'd had a great birthday.
He was having a lovely birthday.
I just like who could
banter.
I like the idea of like he's done that thinking great. Walks it backstage and just every bald member of the roster's waiting for him. Claudio, the Blade, they're all like, what did you say?
It's good banter. It's great banter.
It really is.
So Title Tuesday, it contained two very surprising title changes, actually. I didn't think either of these would go the way they did.
No, and it was certainly a good moment for that night, but I guess it's a little bit more debatable whether it was the right move going forwards, perhaps, especially this first one. Hikaru Shida is now the first ever 3-time AEW Women's Champion. She defeated Saraya, who of course won the belt at Wembley Stadium, after countering with a roll-up off a Falcon Arrow. Before the finish, Ruby Soho had attempted to interfere to help Saraya, but then bloody timeless Toni Storm appeared throwing shoes, and they fought to the back. What an agent of chaos.
Absolutely. Now, I want to mention this while we're at this point as well, because the one thing that they were nervous about were people going away during each show. So they found different ways to keep people. It was a 30-minute no commercial, and then doing as many picture-in-pictures as they can. For one picture-in-picture, AEW displayed a debut of timeless Toni Storm's silent movie, Lover's Lament.
Fantastic.
Which was Toni Storm just sort of flouncing and flirting with the camera for 4 minutes
during
while adverts played.
My God. It's like the new version of Sammy Guevara's placards gimmick, I suppose. But
it is.
But it's really kooky and brilliant. I love it.
I absolutely love what they're doing with timeless Toni Storm in AEW. My hat is off to you. It's fantastic.
I fully agree as well. But on the other hand, I would argue that maybe that should be a reason that Saraya should have retained here, because it surely would have built to a big title match between her and timeless Toni Storm.
That would have made more sense, but maybe will lead to something else. I don't know, but it does make. And then away from that, a surprise title change, a complete surprise title change, because it was a surprise challenger as well.
Yep.
John Moxley, still not cleared to compete, was set to fight for the international title against Rey Fenix, but because he's not cleared, he was replaced by Orange Cassidy. And in relatively short order, Orange Cassidy wins the international title back.
Yes, and this sounds pretty harsh on Rey Fenix, but as you've noted here, he has also been working with an injury.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the best. I do think just in terms of a booking decision, I think it's a bold one to just go straight back to Orange Cassidy after such a great reign, but I think it's the right call as well. I think fair play. They've given it back to Orange Cassidy. They can do a rematch with Moxley if they want down the line, and who would be opposed to that? Because their first match was so good.
I see it. I could see it that way now. In my head, I was thinking. I thought this would be that whole title reign would give Orange Cassidy a break from TV, and then he would move on to something bigger. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, we're back on that, are we? Okay,
that's true.
But then, like you say, if it leads to Cassidy and Moxley again, and then the case of right. Cassidy couldn't get it done last time. Can he get it done this time? That's a good story to tell.
I hope they go that route. But they could go various different ways with this. Injuries permitting.
Also, last night we saw Bryan Danielson defeat Swerve. Excellent match.
Swerve.
I
bloody love them. Those two lads. What are they like?
They are.
Well,
lovely.
one of them's funny. One's very serious. But no, Swerve Strickland. Although he didn't get the win here, obviously a win over somebody like Bryan Danielson would surely be best saved for a pay-per-view, which is fair enough. I still think he doesn't come out of it looking bad. Losing to Bryan Danielson's one of those losses that you can easily rebound from, and it may have even helped him.
Outstanding chemistry between the two as well. Powerhouse Hobbs destroyed Chris Jericho last night. Jericho got some stuff in, but this was like 80-20 Hobbs. Wow.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You know what? Fair enough.
Great. Just Jericho just rolling over Hobbs.
Okay. No, Hobbs rolling over. Oh, rolling over 4 Hobbs. Hobbs rolling over Jericho.
I thought Jericho rolling over as in like rolling over on his back.
I thought you meant like steam rolling.
Envisioned it. Well, Hobbs steam rolled.
He did. Oh, he did.
There was some rolling around at the speed of sound either way. Juice Robinson caused a little bit of bother.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. This was quite a... So Juice Robinson came out, cut a promo on MJF. Was it all of them? It was the whole Bang Bang Gang, wasn't it, in the ring?
Yes. Or as Renee Paquette called them, the Gang Bang Bang.
Right, fantastic.
I see you, Renee.
Now throughout...
Didn't know your bread was buttered that side.
Whether he's been a heel or more recently a face as well, MJF has always... He's often referenced this story, which I assume was a real thing because he mentions it quite a lot. And they say the best things in wrestling are when you channel personal experience into whatever you're doing. And he's mentioned this horrible incident from his youth where somebody basically threw a roll of quarters at him because he's Jewish and basically saying like, I'll pick up the money. And it's something he's often used to fuel himself in promos and things like that. He's gone, this happened to me, it drove me to be what I am today. And fair enough. But then Juice Robinson brought out a roll of quarters with his surname, with Friedman written on them, basically saying, I'm going to use these on you. But quite a deliberate prop, isn't it? And MJF's reaction was definitely like, I'm not saying he didn't clear it and it was all fine backstage and everything, but it was definitely a deliberate reference to that from MJF's character's reaction, going, "What? I can't believe you've done this."
And it has anti-Semitic overtones to it as well, which was mentioned by MJF talked about it.
He's been very candid about it. Yeah.
Very candid about it. He put on Twitter, "Tonight, that piece of SH1T Juice Robinson decided to bring up a story from my childhood that left me scared. I'm glad he did. He brought awareness to something we've all gone through in one way, shape, or form of our lives. On behalf of anyone who's ever been bullied for being different in any capacity, I look forward to leaving him scared too." I also look forward to this Thursday, hashtag stand up to Jewish hate. So MJF will be speaking at an FCAS event in Foxborough, Massachusetts on Thursday, which is a group against anti-Semitism. And he'll be a speaker there. What a great voice to have at something like that.
Absolutely. I can see both sides of the argument because yes, it's led to MJF sharing awareness about this on social media and everything, very important. But just to broadcast that segment on TV, given current goings on in the world, it felt a bit tone deaf. But I mean, it's getting into the murky territory, isn't it? Of like, heels do bad things, they say bad things to rile people up. And it caused a bit of an outrage on Twitter. And it's one of those ones where like, you kind of have to say, yeah, I can understand why.
The show was headlined by Adam Copeland making his in-ring debut for AEW. He defeated Luchasaurus with the help of the TNT title belt.
He needed the belt to win, did he? Edge, Adam Copeland? Yeah. No, he did win his first match, beating Luchasaurus. Then the show ended in a wild brawl which involved Copeland, the BCC, Mogul Embassy, Hangman Page, and Christian Cage and his boys. The final shot was Bryan Danielson putting Christian Cage in a submission and Christian tapping out.
Yeah. I like the brawl.
Brian.
Elements of those sort of it's like those days of like when everybody would run in at the end of a show and see you at the pay-per-view, guys, but without a pay-per-view.
You need Shivani to be. We're running out of time.
Next week, it has been confirmed on Dynamite that the Dynamite Diamond Ring will be up for grabs in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. Now, MJF has a clean sweep of diamond rings. They put a poster up for the match, and for every year it just says MJF, MJF. So he'll be competing in the Battle Royal next week. Does he have a ring as well as a belt and 2 belts?
Yeah, I think
I keep giving him stuff.
Especially after this Juice Robinson thing, I don't know if now is the time for MJF to be losing the Dynamite Diamond Ring, unless it's to set up an actual match.
Lose it to Juice.
Maybe. I don't want the streak to end. This is the greatest streak in wrestling history. MJF winning all the diamond rings. So keep going, Matt. Go on.
So that was your Tuesday Night War, a longer version of your news video than you would normally get. It was a beast of a night. Would love to know who you genuinely think had the better show last night. There was positives and negatives from both. There was good stuff from both. Let us know who you think won down there. And of course, for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. I love you. Bye.